Hey everybody, what's happening? I am Tommy, and you are on the boat. How are you? Kristen Melinda, Rona Cooley, Cinderella's glass slippers here. A Rolling Stone gathers no moss. Shelly Kelly, how are you? La Chameleon. I understand you're playing games, or was that someone else? Was that someone else that was playing games with their hubby? Renee B, Jane Aldrich, how are you? Hey, Hotspot. Welcome to the boat. Mara, how are you? Doing well, doing well, doing well, doing well. Bill Herrera. Yeah, you had an awful at Baldini's. Don't rub that in. Carol Barnhart, how are you? Nicole, good to see you. I've eaten many times at out in that part of Sparks. Kerry Wilson, good to see you. David Clark, Meredith Wynn, how are you? Good to see you. Lumen, how are you, Lumen? Your soul from Tasmania, shut right up. How cool is that, man? Seriously, how cool is that? Little Tasmania in the house. How often do you get to say that, right? You don't work that into too many conversations, I promise you. Put that in your video, but you won't. Me and my cat, Monica Larimore. Hey, James Collin, how are you? How are you? Dale Cox. Hey, Ladybug. Melissa. Sweet Liberty. Tony G, brown spotted eagle. I'm just calling you spotted eagle. Reese Quibble, or is it Quibble? How are you, Quibs? Good to see you, babe. La Chameleon. No, not me. That's playing the games. Just okay. Yeah, no, I know. I'm slipping. It's not the first time. Carrie Wilson, good to see you. I live for now. What's happening? Hello, Christine. Hey, Nick. What's up, my brother? Glad you're here. I am the Noise Opera. Robert Hall, Gemini Girl 6'5". Sweet Liberty, Tina Serlin is here. Boho Hobo. You have no idea how badly I want to mispronounce that every single time I read it. Hello, Lisa Tribble. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Clarette Landsman, South Africa. Loving that. Loving that. Loving that. Did I say Kristen Melinda? Lynn Sanity, how you doing? Kristen Melinda, good to see you. Nana Atu. Darkly Noon, love the name. Kim is Blue, what's happening, Kim is Blue? What is happening, Kim is Blue? Sorry about that. Love the name. Hey, Leanne. Dee Razzle Dazzle's here. Sweet. Make that easy for you. Save all kinds of typing. Hello, Anna. Just Joan, good to see you. Squirrel Girl, what's happening? Oh, look at that. Reese. I'll save all of the time of saying it back. See that? Just freeing up time for everybody here. Laura, good to see you. Casey, how are you? The Arabian Bard. Brock Bandy. Your kiddo flooded the bathroom. That's such an epic thing, though. That is such an epic thing. I mean, that's worth celebrating. Catalina, how are you? I'm not even being funny. There's something just super, super cool about when they start to get to that age. Lady Shishi, and I'll tell you something. You want to hear a funny story? It's Saturday night, right? I'll tell you a funny story. Carol Barnhart, Twisted Sister, Paranormal. We're not going to take it. I was in a county jail, and I was angry because they had taken me to the SHU, to the segregated housing unit. And I was pretty new to this, right? And when they say we're taking you to the hole, like this scared the crap out of me. Whine a little bit more. Good to see you. Like, I'm not even joking. This freaked me out. So once I finally got there and I realized that I was in solitary confinement and that, no joke, you don't get a mattress, right? They don't give you a mattress until midnight. And on and on. Good to see you. I like to go to sleep considerably before midnight, especially when you're locked up. So I just kept getting more angry and more angry. And I had this really good idea. I was going to knock the sprinkler head off. Right? I'll teach these people, man. Right? I'll flood this cell. I'll just break the sprinkler head off. And I expected it to rain. You know what I mean? Like rain comes down. I've seen these things. They rain. That's what's supposed to happen. No, not so much. I smacked this thing as hard as I could with my shoe, and it didn't work. So I did it again, and it didn't work. And then I kind of put the shoe onto my hand like it was a fist. And I smacked the front of this thing, and the whole little piece flew off, and a stream of water about that fat around came smoking out of this hole in the wall. And the stuff was jet black, smelled really foul. Apparently, there's some kind of like fire retardant. That's the first stuff that comes out. And it's really disgusting. And it's not supposed to come out in like a big kind of turd form. It's supposed to spray out in small little particles to put out the fire. Of course, there was no fire. And there's a little button in there you could push. It's like a panic button. I didn't push that button. So by the time they got there, you talk about flooded. This cell probably had about that much water flowing out into the door, going into the going in. I wasn't making any friends. I really wasn't. Barbara Aldrich. I was young and stupid, for the record, but it is a funny story. It cracks me up. That was a flooded bathroom, but you know what? Boys do that. Renee Rainbow, Charlie Murphy, good to see you. Muffins. When you're a kid, the thought of flooding something is just really, really cool, especially if you're a boy. I'm sorry, it's just one of the coolest things ever. It's like plugging up the bathtub, right? And then pretending you're in a submarine that got hit. Come on, you've all done it. You've all done it. I can't stand spell check. Aaron Card, how are you? You're old and stupid. I don't think so. That doesn't make much sense. Katie Much, doing all right? Anon. I said the same thing, Anon. I said the exact same thing. I really did. And for those of you who are wondering what I said because you weren't here live, I should probably fetch that, shouldn't I? There you go. Huh? See what I did there? Didn't even have to saving everybody all this typing. I'm trying to put things up on the screen for the people that watch this on the replay crew. Know what I mean? You're just finishing the last live, Kiki? Well, perfect, right? Just perfect timing. Shar, how are you? I wanted to make some predictions, people. I want to make some predictions. Right at the end of the last live feed, right? In fact, it was so at the end of the last live feed that I read it as it was ending. And if I hadn't hit the button, I probably would have been talking for much longer. But we're going to, at the end of the last live feed, somebody said, we're not going to hear any names until long after this trial is done, meaning Cinco de Mayo at a minimum, because that's when it starts. Probably go a couple of months if it really starts then. And the defense does want a fast trial, so it might. But we're going to hear about stars way before that. Because you know what happens, honestly? Every time these stars start to interact in any way, more people hear about it. You understand what I'm saying? Even if it's just they're contacting, the attorney or anything else, somebody in that attorney's office made some copies, right? I'm not kidding. That kind of stuff. Just silly things. Nice. It is great having you on the lifeboat. Didi Razzle said, my daughter tried to flush a Barbie doll. Wouldn't go down, so she kept flushing. Well, that's logical. I mean, you got to give her credit. That's probably the smart thing to do, at least the first time, until you find out that doesn't work. Woohoo! What's Trista, you got here in time. Kathy, how are you? Good to see you. Allison Metcalf Palumbo. Primarily lurking. All good. We're absolutely going to see people get outed. We're going to see people get outed. 2 people can keep a secret, right? As long as one of them is dead. That I didn't say that the first time. That was said by somebody else the first time. But it's absolutely true. And this kind of leak is worth a pile of money, right? A pile of money. The kind of cash you could get for a list or a video that had adults on it. Cody's Hooter, how are you? It's a dangerous game to be playing, to start trying to buy and sell in these things if they have underage people in it. That stuff gets called CP, and it's a bad juju. It's disturbing to hear that people are trafficking in it or talking about it. If you got that in 2008, you probably should have turned it in. That's about that. Hey, we're wide open on Saturday night. We can talk about absolutely anything you guys want. Throw it up there. We'll talk about it. If you have a question, I will be more than happy to answer it. Jason P., what's happening? Hey, Suzanne. Jeanette McClure. You know, I always want to say, you may remember her from such films as, right? The Simpson fans. It wasn't his name McClure? The actor? Come on, somebody help me. Somebody help me. You may remember me from such films as. Well, did he get bail? No. I'm putting money on the fact that there's no chance on God's green earth that he does. I know that the right after this last right after this last go around, what happens is this. After that last go around, a lot of people, prognosticators, right? A lot of prognosticators and a lot of pundits, right? Attorneys who know a hell of a lot about the law. I promise you, they know a ton about the law. And they go in there and they ask them questions and they bring up the case. And I promise you, very often, these people take about 15 minutes of show prep. I promise. They do about 15 minutes of show prep. They do not always have a handle on the case itself. So when they say things like, all the time, high profile people with a lot of cash, all the time, they will set them up so that they can go into some form of home confinement with an ankle monitor or something like that, where they're monitored, but they can put up a ton of money, right? Like the guy that just put up the 10 million, right? It's just apples and oranges. And the pundits that went on these shows, the attorneys that went on these shows, weren't aware of or didn't seem like it was a good idea to mention the fact that this guy had heavy artillery in his house, right? I mean, a lot of it, truthfully, 50-round magazines, that's over the top, right? Even from a criminal standpoint, that's a lot. It's a lot of ammunition. It's just per clip. I mean, you're not hunting. What the hell are you hunting with that? Bears with flak jackets, right? Other animals with automatic weapons. Hey, Raven, how are you? Glad that you're here. Sending positive vibes from the Sunshine Coast. Well, that's cool. Very cool. So I don't see that there's any chance that they're going to give this cat bail based on that. If, however, none of those things were there, right? Hey, Karma Chameleon, if, however, none of those things were there, we still have a huge problem. He beat up a woman in a hallway at the hotel, and the big hubbub was made about the fact that they spliced that video to make it look a certain way. How different? I mean, he came out the following day, did he? Came out the following day and said, I'm sorry, what you saw in that video was absolutely disgusting. I hated myself then. I hate myself now, blah, 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 right? But he didn't say, hey, that thing's fake. That's not me on that. Hey, they edited that crap. Nothing like that happened. We were kissing in the hallway. I don't know how they made that crap look like that. Piano Mom, how are you? Hey, Lori Driscoll. That's not how it went down, man. Slumerican Mac. It's not spliced. What they did was this. There are several camera angles. You understand what I'm saying? They're running from one hallway to another hallway and then to a new bank of, as those cameras change, you're going to get that kind of activity. I mean, even if it is, Ams Dave, how are you? Even if it is, it's not AI. It's not AI. It's certainly not. And if it was, then he did a really stupid thing about apologizing as fast as he did, right? I agree with this. It's funny how conspiracy theorists were mocked and ridiculed for centuries, but it turns out many, many theories are fact. I mean, it's kind of a trip, isn't it? It's kind of a trip. Tommy, have you seen the interview with the Jane Doe, the viral young lady who was, oh yeah, yep, found in the photos of Diddy eating food off of her table. She was the dinner plate, and I'm not being sarcastic or saying it's funny because they literally take a human being and put food all over her. In fact, Quibble and I talked about this in the last sex cult stuff we were doing with the jesters. They did the exact same thing with but those people were consenting and paid to be there. The Jane Doe they're talking about was either 13 or 14 at the time she was on that table. And a lot of videos of her online. Very, very disturbing stuff. A lot of photos, I should say, not videos. Let me rephrase that. There are a lot of videos are popping up. You think he's going to walk? The judges are frightened? No, they're not. Listen, the judges aren't frightened. Here's what happens. You ever hear them at the start of the trial when they say, All right. We are on the record in the matter of Tommy Scoville versus the United States of America, or the United States of America versus Tommy Scoville. And then they spit out the number, CR 135, whatever the case number is, right? We're on the record. What that means is that everything going forward for everything is being written down, everything, so that people can go back through this with a fine-tooth comb and say, you know what? This judge was biased. Why would you say that? Well, he was looking at a bail package for the very first time, right? They brought him all of this stuff, told him everything they could do, laid it all out, and in 40 seconds, he went, no. Would have looked pretty biased, wouldn't it? So he takes this stuff home, and this guy is a beast, this judge. He is, Shar says the judge is protecting any appeal. That's exactly what's going on. And showing no hint of impropriety. Asks both sides of the equation 20 questions. If you listen to both of it in the beginning, you go, oh yeah, the prosecution is, I mean, they're pissed. They're not happy about this. The log books, they switch the name. There's a lot going on both sides of this thing. But I assure you, what the judge was doing was protecting so that, there's not stuff for appeal. He also is apparently, he's super into writing opinions on things like that. Wharton Thistle, what's happening? He will write an opinion like they do in the Supreme Court or whatever. So perhaps he's taking the weekend to write up, so that this is perfect. He definitely is going to treat this thing, a short note. He is really going to treat this thing like a million law students and scholars are going to go over every single move that he makes. And do you know why? Because a million lawyers and law students are going to go over every single step he makes. They're going to. They're going to be studying this thing in law school for eternity. There's never been anything that's going to be this big. I'm sorry, there hasn't. The scope of this is insane. It's like if it were John Gotti. Honestly, it's not that much different. There's a lot of smoke around this dude for people who are no longer addicted to oxygen. You feel me? There's a lot of that going around. If Diddy does somehow get bail, do you think he will ever return to jail or prison, or will he disappear or cease to exist? No way he would ever want to go back. This is exactly right. This is exactly what this dude needs. And Hummingbird, thank you so much. Look at that, people. Hot sauce packets flying all over the place. Thank you, Ann. I think we're in a very this is definitely a cover your butt thing if he gets out. And I really don't see it happening, but we'll play the hypothetical. If there's a chance that this cat gets out, I think he will be willing to blow every penny he's got to get out of that apartment and out of this country to some place with a much tougher extradition treaty than, say, Mexico, right? For real. That's my opinion. I mean, let's say just hypothetically, right? Let's say hypothetically, and I'm not trying to give anybody ideas, but what if you paid a couple of mercs $5 million a piece to come take out anybody that's guarding him, right? Cut off your ankle monitor and get to stepping. It's not far-fetched. I'm sorry, it's not. I mean, we're talking about an awful lot of money. We're talking about people, like Russell Simmons, who just did I'm taking off. Why? Because a lot of people have accused me of a lot of things. Yeah. Well, Monique, I hope things are getting better. And glad you're here. Yeah, Russell Simmons ran, apparently, or allegedly. Ellen DeGeneres is also booked out of the country for other environs. I believe in Cotswold, England, something like that. She left, though, because of the election, right? Which happened on first week of November. She bought the house, though, not in November, which makes you wonder. She bought it in October before the dude was elected. I guess she was buying it just in case, or she figured he was going to win. But at that point, they weren't predicting he was going to win. In fact, at that point, they were talking about him getting whacked. Can he get the ankle brace off? Sure. That's an excellent question. Can he get the ankle bracelet off without notifying the feds? And the truth to this one is this. Hey, court reporter, Jamie K., how are you? KP in Arizona. Absolutely no way can you get this thing off without it tripping. There's no chance. What they do is it's got several wires, and electricity runs through these puppies. So if one of them gets snapped, it's letting you know that it's all over. It's all over. They're telling them, come get them, and come get them now. Just to get through those wires. I mean, when you cut through that first one, you're going to be working a while on the second one, unless you got some heavy equipment. I mean, if you have bolt cutters or something like that, scissors aren't going to do it justice. These things are put on so that you can go, so that they're built to stay there. They're not built to come off. But I don't think there's any circumstances that would keep the society safe. Hey, Jamie Smith. I mean, honestly, I don't see anything that would make society safe. That's my humble opinion. Did he look good in prison garb? Celeb shouldn't be treated better than anyone else. They will persecute him to set an example. Yeah, they shouldn't be treated better than anybody else, right? And I'll tell you something. I had just the pew-pew charges, right? And I did have the exact same weaponry that he had, but there was 2 of them. And then the rest were the kind of stuff that any John Q public might own, nothing particularly impressive. But the pew-pews are an issue, and I understand that. But he had 3 times as many as I did, and I wasn't up for bail because of it. So they definitely get different treatment, man. They definitely get different treatment. That's what Ellen said. And Hesh, X, and Twitch. Her TV show's DJ dancer died under suspicious circumstances. Plus, she's friends with Diddy. And I'll tell you what, man, I promise you, a year or 2 ago, I would have laughed at you. I'm sorry, I would have. A year or 2 ago, I would have said, yeah, you know what? Come on, man. I mean, obviously the woman's a shrew, but this doesn't make any sense. But I'll tell you what, nothing about that woman makes sense. Does the judge let him walk? No chance. No chance. In my opinion, there's no chance. There are 2 other judges that said he's too dangerous to let out. If he says, no, I think you should let him out, God forbid the guy does anything, it's the end of his career is in the crapper, right? His career is in the crapper. But if he leaves him in, I mean, he's agreeing with 2 other judges. I think it would be a very dangerous thing for him to do, right? It would be dangerous, and I don't see the point of going dangerous. Why bother? Why bother? You can keep him in, and everybody's going to be happy. Moving to England will be little protection. You're absolutely right. In fact, there are very few places that really will protect you. If push comes to shove, we'll send in people to get him. Susan says, Lionel from Lionel Nation says, if people call you crazy, you're on the right track. You know what? It's true, because you're not, if you're taking flack, you're probably over the target. You know what I mean? Federal prisons have 4 PC yards that I know of. 4. And I'm sure there's more than that. But I was in the upper custody levels. And at the upper custody levels, there are like 4 penitentiaries. Is it 4? 3. No. Yeah. No, 4. There are 4 of them where they can go for dropouts. Special needs yards. Special needs yards. Diddy seems to be working jail for better food, phone calls, etc. It would be possible for him to work favors in prison if convicted. It's a very different audience in the penitentiary. Very different audience. He right now is in a unit that is so small and so restricted. It's easy for him to be the king crap in a unit of 9 or 10 guys. But when you get to a place that's got 11 or 1,200, right? There are going to be people there who have just an overwhelming attitude problem, right? An overwhelming attitude problem. There are people there that groove to violence. I'm not being funny. When something gets released in their body, some of you, I'm sure, have been in fights, and it makes your stomach. I mean, I don't care if you've been in 100 of them. Every time you get in a fight, it does something to your stomach. It's a very uncomfortable feeling. I don't think a lot of people groove to that feeling, but there are people in the joint that do. No joke, they like it, and they would like to. They'd like to notch their belt and say, "Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. What, Puff? Yeah, I knocked that dude out." I mean, if you're not getting out, that's about the only kind of cred you can get. Monique says, oh my God, I think that there is a chance. Then why is his hearing, why in his hearing have to wait a day on? Because the judge doesn't want to be overturned on appeal for anything. And as soon as the judge rules on this, they're going to call up to the second district court of appeals, and they're going to say, hey, you remember that thing we mailed you? Well, now we want you to actually file it, because they have already filed an appeal in this. Do you understand? But as soon as they found out that the judge that had turned them down recused himself, they said, oh, hold up, don't put that through yet. How about if you wait until this is done? It was a pretty good play on their part, honestly. But yeah, he'll get one more shot. If the first three get turned down, they're not going to overturn it on appeal. They're just not. But he has paid allegedly millions of dollars just on this, just on the crew right now that's working. They're not working on his case. They're just working on the appeal for bail. Millions of dollars. Like, he hired some stone cold pimps, right? For real. Lawyers that are killers. This is what they do. They don't do anything but appeals. And normally they do this stuff on an appeal of a case. They're normally not doing it on something as trivial as as bail, right? But this is his Hail Mary, people. He's got to know right now. In fact, we know he knows right now, right? One of the things that leaked out of that court is that he had said, this is a quote, he was having his kids do some work for him and some other people because he wanted to taint the jury pool. It doesn't sound like a PR campaign. It sounds uglier than that to me, right? You with me? I want to taint the jury pool. Then the next thing out of his mouth was, we only need one. That means you're assuming that the other 11 are going to think you're a you know what, right? The rest of them are going to think you SA'd literally hundreds, if not thousands of people. I mean, he's an absolute freak. But that's his assumption. He didn't say, hey, we got to swing half this jury. We only need one, man. We need one out of that 12 that doesn't think I'm a dirtbag, that is SA'd or R'd everybody that came into my, into a room that no one else was in. Or the other people just had to be bodyguards. What? In the second part of Misha disclosure online, I'll be Agnifilo was around. Do you mean Agnifilo was around at one of the places that she was? Are you telling me Agnifilo was at Freakoffs? Is that what is being alleged? By the way, allegedly, that means a lawyer. And I am not saying that. Just reading it, big dog. Just reading it. But is that what is being alleged? Hey, Anna Berquist, how are you? Yeah. Hey, Christine. That's okay. Late's better than nothing. And I struggle in this, man. That's heavy. But you know that this was not his normal attorney. His normal attorney that he had for eons did exactly what everybody else that had anything to do with Sean Combs did. They turned around and ran like hell and said, we don't work together. No, we were never that close. And by the way, I never, and I do mean never, went to a party after 9 o'clock.
Look at that right there.
You looking for this?
Check.
Sorry, folks.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
My apologies.
You're good. You need some chopstick. Let's see here. We have a nice little facility in Southern Colorado that will welcome Diddy with open arms. Would you be referring to Florence, Colorado? I did time in Florence, Colorado. I was at their max. I will tell the world, Chopper Reed did not cut his ears off. It was ears or tongue. If you don't know the Chopper Reed story, that one's worth reading, man. That was a stone cold gangster. So, not here. It was in a different country, but stone cold gangster. I believe wholeheartedly that their goal is to get him out so that he can run like the wind. He's got access to aircraft, right? Even if they're not the ones that he owns, because I don't think he'd be dumb enough to try to get on his own ride, right? I guarantee you they're taking a look at those. But how many really rich people do you think this guy knows? And I'm not saying he's got friends left, because I don't believe he's got one left, right? It's the quietest thing you ever heard in your entire life. No one's saying anything. He hasn't got a friend, right? Except for that one cat that's suing Burgess. And we don't know who that is. You know what, though? We're narrowing it down. We're narrowing it down. If it was filed from LA, right? It was filed from LA. So that'll narrow it down a little bit. I mean, not huge, but some. Someone will help him allegedly trouble, but not because they're homeboys, right? Not because they dig him, but because one of those pieces of SIM card or whatever the hell else he's got. I mean, those, like a fire stick, those things you know what I'm talking about. They don't have tapes anymore, but you know what I mean, right? They don't make tapes anymore, but there are allegedly tapes. There are allegedly little deals. He has the ability to bring an awful lot of leverage against, allegedly. You could bring a lot of leverage against people if you have recorded every single thing that happened in every room of your house for decades. That is what was alleged, by the way. Allegedly treble. Dig the name. Dig the name. How about that? Flash drive. That's the word I was looking for. Allison Metcalf Palumbo. You know what? For helping me out with the external hard drive of the dome. Good looking out. Good looking out. I wasn't going to get that. Chopper was, I believe wasn't he Australia? It's either, if it wasn't Australia, it was New Zealand. Sweet dreams, Charlie, Piano Mom says, and I concur. No, you make a really good point. Valerie, good to see you, Valerie. Jack Court, what's happening? No, this is a really solid point. He didn't have friends. He had people that he leveraged against. Except, I think he was friends with Ashton Kutcher. I think those guys were friends. And I think he was friends with Danny Masterson. I do. And they certainly loved to hang out together, right? Chopper was an Aussie. Thank you, community. They really liked hanging out together, didn't they? I think that they were all doing the same thing. We know that's what Danny Masterson's in prison for. Right? Doing 30 years for that. And they used to go out at night, travel all over the country and the world, man. All over the country and the world. The dead man switch. You know, this is one of those things, man. This is one of those things that people keep talking about. The concept of a dead man switch was to keep people from getting shot by snipers. Like you would dynamite up the entire building, right? And you would hold something in your hand that if somebody shot you and you were to release that, everything blows up. They call it a dead man switch. In this case, it is meant to be that if something happens to him or if he gives the signal that there are some tapes or some things out there that he will flood the world with. And I think that that's probably realistic. I really do. I think that that's probably realistic. Anon, thank you for being supportive. Appreciate you. I have heard of Sloan Bella, allegedly. I absolutely have. She called this a while ago. No question she did. I found this out today watching some of her stuff. I was blown away, and I'm not a full believer. There's a lot there. You can't dismiss Sloan Bella for sure. She was doing it way before anybody else was. Right? I have heard this as well. I'm sorry. You know something that I think is funny, and I was maybe people won't see it this way, but I am sticking to I don't believe the judge will take that kind of exposure to let this man out. I think it's a horrific risk for his career, and there's not much of a payoff. So personally, I don't see it happening. That's my humble opinion. Now, that being said, if by some chance they let him out, I think that one of two things is going to happen. And one is horrific. Like, he's going to try to make an escape. And he's not going to have the ability to walk out of wherever he is unless some people get hurt. That's one possibility. And the other possibility is he's going to break every single friggin' rule that they give him on the streets. They're going to catch him, and he's going to get brought back to the joint. I'm not sure if you've all heard, but allegedly, when they went in and tossed his cell and started taking pictures of everything and all of that, you know what else they found? A cell phone. Dude's got a cell phone in his cell. That's disturbing. You can order hits with a cell phone. Honestly. I agree with you. All hell will break loose. If he gets out, I don't think that there's going to be a lot of people out there. I don't think there's a lot. Diddy has a Bronco for the Andrew B., good to see you. You talking about the slow chase? That's too funny. June 12th. June 12th. 94. When did OJ 95? When was the OJ Simpson when did he allegedly he did it? When did he kill his wife? Yeah, allegedly Trouble says, I'm very curious to see the revolt from the public if this were to happen. Bingo. If you don't think that these people have their fingers on the pulse, what can he do with a laptop then? You can order from a phone. The laptop will not have a modem in it. These are designated, these are designed for one thing and one thing only. They cannot dial out. You can take and put stuff into it. I've seen these handed out in June 12th, 94. Thank you. I've seen these handed out in county jails before. When there's a mountain of discovery, they will do this. But you're not surfing the web. Right? You're not even sending emails. None of those things are possible. This is a device that, pure and simple, will allow you to view very large amounts of stuff. Jamie Smith, Moose is fat. I'm sorry, he's gotten beefy. He's gotten a little overweight. He's full figured. Big cat, really big cat. What are my thoughts on Kimora Lee? What are my thoughts on Kimora Lee Simmons? Allegedly, yeah, I get bad juju. My thoughts on her are this. I think that she knew, I think she knew Diddy from Jump Street was an absolute dirtbag. You have to remember that this is an absolute, she's watching this every day unfold in front of her, right? Kim Porter is her best friend. They are, by all accounts, joined at the hip. So Kimora Lee Simmons watched her allegedly get beat up often by him, including when they had to bring out a plastic surgeon and fix her nose and all of the other stuff. There was a lot of abuse there. And I think that Kimora Lee saw it. I think, she was at the house shortly after Kim Porter was found. And I think she's a little, I think she's worried. You know what I mean? She should be. She's probably getting a little bit more bold now that he's away. But I think she was on to him before a lot of other people were. Yeah, exactly. Here's the deal. In his cell, right? In his cell, he's got a cell phone. He's bought 8 other people's phone time, right? He's got a to-do list of all the laws he needs to break to try to win this case, allegedly, written down on these notebooks that say legal on them, but not when the pictures were taken. They filled that in afterwards. And juju. That kind of crap will really, really make the courts angry. Hey, Miss Sweetie Poo, good to see you. You know something? Susan Reich, I said this to somebody yesterday. This is reminiscent. This is reminiscent of Tina Turner. But the last one I just put up there, anybody that is manipulating so badly right now in an environment with tons of guards, right? No ability to have somebody from the street come in. What are they going to do? Strip out his kids every time they go in to visit him? I don't see that happening. This is a very dangerous, and besides, all you got to get out is words. You don't have to get out anything else. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I agree with you, Bill Herrera. I absolutely agree with you. If you put hands on a woman or a kid, he shouldn't be let out. And there's a video of it. There's a video of it. And Kimura obviously had to witness that again and again and again. It's awful. Bobby Brown was Whitney Houston. Clive Davis was I don't know, man. I think Clive Davis has red scaly skin, right? Hooved feet, a bifurcated tail, and carries a hay fork. There's something really Satan-y about that cat. Just my humble opinion, man. No, Layla, nobody is taking this cat's calls. Oddly enough, they're not taking his kids' calls either. Allegedly. You make a good point. Cinderella's Glass Slipper says, well, I'll paraphrase. That Ike was not bringing in adult porn stars to abuse Tina while he filmed it and directed it. It's pretty nasty. Shelley, I'm sorry, I stole that line. It's from a movie. I didn't make that up. I wish I did. I stole that from a movie. Do I think the female guards will give Diddy a harder time than the male ones? You betcha. You betcha. I don't think he's going to get a whole lot of love from the female staff. I agree, Kestrel. I agree. Kestrel says anyone who hits animals are just as bad. My thing is this. If the reason you're being cruel to something is because you can be, is because your size or your position or your authority gives you the ability to do that, then you're a bad person. It's pretty cut and dry. Oh, no, Diddy's kids will talk to him. I'm saying that none of Diddy's friends will talk to any of Diddy's kids. Apparently, allegedly, they've been reaching out to people asking for help. I mean, there are people out there that they call uncle. I wouldn't want to say any of their names because they sue. They got lawyers, man. They got lawyers. And I ain't pissing Jay-Z off. I'm smarter than that, right? But, yeah. If everyone inside knows he puts hands on women 100% fact, then why are all the prisoners helping him out? Because the people that he is in there with also put hands on women. He is in a very, very restricted space with freaks. These are people that are in there for large amounts of CP on their computers, right? People like that. People that ratted on entire groups of people, right? And are, they have to be protected from the people in there. Everybody in there has to be protected, not just from the protected, from the PCs. They're so damned, their jackets are so filthy. Their files are so dirty that they can't put them anywhere near GP. So you got 9 guys that are all scumbags. Every one of them. Right? They all think that hitting women, nothing wrong with that. It's that kind of dorm, so to speak. No, I don't at all. No, I do not at all. It's a great question, though. Do I think the female victim speaking on so many platforms will hurt the Fed case? I don't. I don't. I think that it sends a pretty clear-cut message, right? All the way that this has taken over the imagination of everybody on the internet, and it has, and even kind of above this, even mainstream media talks about it. I mean, not like we do, but they definitely talk about it. And I think with JE, screw it, we're 45 minutes in. In the Epstein case, I wasn't particularly one second. We have a slightly different dynamic in Epstein, right? Sorry. When they put all the same type of scumbags together, don't they end up bonding and forming connections? You betcha. You betcha. No, Monique. So Monique says Diddy is in that type of an area. I heard he was in general population because people don't know what what the term general population means. I watched other people say this too. What they mean is he's not in a locked up cell, right? He's not in the segregated housing unit. So in their mind, if you leave the segregated housing unit, you're in GP. GP means let's say there's 15 units. You can send me to any one of them, right? You can send me to any good unit in there. I couldn't go to the PC unit, right? I couldn't go where Diddy is now. But if you're in general population, you can go anywhere. There's nobody trying to kill you, right? When you get to any facility, they say to you, is there any reason why you can't go into general population? Right? Say now, because if not, if you go out there, they're going to get you. They're going to find out who you are and they're going to get you. Yeah, I think that there was probably a connection to an agency. I think that the Epstein thing was an op, and I'm not sure. I think that to some degree, Diddy's thing is an op. Yeah, this is another thing that I kind of wish they would do a better job, right? Honestly, maybe talk to a couple of convicts. Because what happens is word comes out like, I heard prisoners are making his bed, right? Cleaning up after him, doing his laundry, right? And the word comes down that these guys love him so much they'll do this for him. And that isn't it at all. It's not it at all. If this is happening, and I don't doubt that it is, it's because there are people inside that want to go to store, right? But they got no money, they got nobody on the street, and they clean cells, they clean toilets. They wash clothes. They do anything that they can do as a hustle. So, yeah, I guarantee you that GP is general population. GP is general population. The chances of a freak off in jail, it could happen. It could happen. If an unbiased jury can't be found, can they do a bench trial, or does Diddy have to agree to that? He would absolutely have to agree to a bench trial, but they'll find a impartial jury. I promise you they will. They will have no problem finding a impartial jury. Do you know why? Because the people they're asking questions to are going to lie. I promise. It doesn't happen very often. Normally, people are doing everything within their power to get off of jury duty. But if there is any chance on God's green earth that you might end up on this case, I think a lot of people will lie to get there. Do you think having a prosecution team as mainly women is tactical? Not that they are qualified in, not that they are not qualified in any stretch. Kind of love the idea of women telling Diddy secrets publicly, shaming him. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's exactly why they're all women. Bank on it. They're all women because it's the best call. It also means they're going to be like Agnifilo is going to go up there and he's going to say stuff to Cassie that's going to make the jury hate him. And then a woman is going to stand up and she's going to make them hate him more. Right? It's a genius move, in my opinion. It's a genius move, in my opinion. Yeah, I think that there's a decent chance. What's going to happen with Diddy's kids? Are they going to be incriminate themselves or for doing stuff for him on the outside? I think they're already on the hook. If you want to know the truth, I think that they're probably going to be a card that gets played in this down the road, right? If they start working over Diddy, or they start trying to cut deals, and they got to start doing anything. If there's a push and a shove with Diddy, his kids are going to be a chip. I promise. If you do this, we're not going to prosecute your kids. We're not going to go after your mother. Like, those are the kind of things that feds do. I'm telling you, they're fond as hell of stuff like that. Lots of women in lead roles. Adira English lawyer. Yeah. Representing Courtney Burgess, Desiree CEO of Rock Nation, probation on narcotics, link to Colombian. Not sure about the link to that. I'm not sure what that is. But the English, that's another person that gets a lot of bad press. I don't doubt what that woman says. I really don't. I think she deals with things a little differently, but I'm not doubting her. Yeah. I think that the people that were angry at Epstein are a far more dangerous crew, right? There are a lot of people that would love to bump off Diddy, guaranteed. But I don't think they're the kind of people that can walk into a federal facility, go up, to the 13th floor, walk down, open a cell, go in there, knock a guy off, and then walk all the way back out without getting caught. I don't think they're that kind of people. I don't think they're the kind of people that could make that happen. I think the people with Epstein sure as hell were, right? I've said this a lot since the beginning of this. In the Epstein, and allegedly the people that were hanging out with Epstein, going to the island, all that stuff, you had a lot of politicians, a lot of titans of industry, right? Huge, like Fortune 500 people, just the movers and shakers on planet Earth, unfortunately. And a couple of stars and some athletes. With Diddy, it's the exact opposite. There might be a politician or two that gets thrown in, but the vast majority of them are going to be pop culture. Follow me? When do you think he will have his court date? As of right now, they're saying Cinco de Mayo. Right now, we're here in Cinco de Mayo. As we get closer, December, right towards the end of December, they're going to have Discovery over to, allegedly trouble. I'm not saying that they're not connected. I think that they're connected, not necessarily because they're run by the same people, but I think that there are a lot of the same people that groove to this. This is a really disgusting, scummy thing. And the more you look at this, I'm sorry, but the more you look at this, the more you realize that even in other countries, man, right? Even in other countries, you got this trash goes on constantly. If there's a place to put a casting couch, then they're going to do this, whether it's men or women or anything else. Unfortunately, that's the truth. You know what, people? I think I may call this one early because my throat is starting to feel like I've been gargling with glass. But I do appreciate you coming and hanging out with me. I'll be back tomorrow, but I'm going to go put this thing to rest. I do appreciate you spending your evening with me. Sassy Savage says, I feel bad for the twin daughters. You know something? I do too. And they're of an age now where this has got to be the most embarrassing thing in the whole world for them. You know what I mean? Their dad is not just going to court, which would suck, right? Which would suck. But he's the most hated man in America, which is got to be hard for him. I feel bad. Thank you, and on and on. All right, people, I will see you on the next one. I am the Admiral. Between now and the next time I see you, reach out and try to save somebody. Conor McGregor's not going to jail. Unfortunately not. That was civil.